This is Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis.
Set to go on weekend number 2. The NHL regular season is underway, and so are we. Set to go again. Looking forward to a busy couple of hours. Lots of good hockey talk to get you set for a busy Saturday in the National Hockey League. Coming up on the program today, Isabelle Kershudian from the Washington Post. She covers the Caps. Ovi had a hat trick in the opener. That's some good things to talk about. There was an awful lot of doom and gloom about the Caps heading into this season. We'll talk to Isabelle Kershudian about the Caps, their prospects for this year, and much more. Rob Holman is a hockey statistician and author of a couple of books on, I almost don't want to use the word analytics, but statistics, information. Rob will join us to give us a more statistical look at the National Hockey League. Hopefully there's not too much math involved. Kevin Kurz covers the San Jose Sharks for the Athletic San Francisco. Kevin will join us from the West Coast to talk about the San Jose Sharks and their matchup tonight against the Los Angeles Kings and much more. Derek Wills is the Calgary Flames radio play-by-play voice. He will join us on the program as well, getting you set for the Calgary Flames. Game number 2 of their schedule, it will be against the Winnipeg Jets. We'll talk about the Flames. Oh, yeah, undoubtedly, there will be some discussion about Jaromir Jagr and the Calgary Flames going forward. Derek Wills will give us the latest on that. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, both the Twitter and Instagram handles for us today. Yes, we're on Instagram as well. Make sure you're following us there because, of course, we are accepting your Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day nominations, both on Twitter and on Instagram. Send them to us and use the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We like dog photos. We're a dog-friendly program, so please send us the photos. We select the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. We'll be looking for your nominations all season long, every Saturday, with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day via Twitter, via Instagram, and we will select a winner at the end of the program. They will be recognized in our Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day gallery. We'll have one on our Facebook page. We'll have one on our website as well. Looking forward to a busy day in the NHL. And, of course, thanks for joining us again, streaming live on hockeyunfiltered.com. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Periscope, powered by Primetime Radio. Busy show ahead and looking forward to it, because we got the season underway now. This was the anticipation that resulted in the euphoria on Wednesday night when we had the National Hockey League season finally open. We finally had games to talk about instead of speculating as to who's going to play on which line and what is this matchup going to be? How is the goaltending going to be? How is this going to work out? Yes, the 2017-18 NHL season is finally underway. And as mentioned, kicking it into high gear today, 15 games, a super busy Saturday. How good is that? I like these busy Saturdays. We don't have enough. I mean, 10 games is great, but let's load up. By the end of the day, each team will have played at least one game. Some, it's hard to believe, will have played as many as 3 in the first 4 days of the NHL season. That is a tough start to your year. You kick off and you're playing 3 games in 4 nights. That is a tough start to your year because there's going to be travel in there as well. It's not going to be 3 home games. We have already seen some remarkable accomplishments early on in this NHL season. Anybody tracking the over-under on the number of hat tricks that we'll see? 15 games today. You know, somebody's bound to pick up a few points. Kind of curious to see what we get on this nonstop Saturday of action, because there's afternoon action with the New Jersey Devils, and they're at home this afternoon. That's the first game of the day. They're hosting the Colorado Avalanche. I'm kind of curious to see what happens, because we have the afternoon game. Then we have a bunch of 7 o'clock and mid-evening starts, and there's 4 late games today, 4 10 o'clock or later games today. So it's nonstop action. Might be tough to wait this long for teams to open their season. I mentioned the New Jersey Devils are just beginning their season today. They've had to wait a few days. So have the Carolina Hurricanes. So have the Vancouver Canucks. They've all had to wait a few days. And I can't believe that they aren't getting super impatient, anxious to get going. Like, come on, we've been waiting all summer. We've had our training camp since the middle of September, and now we got to wait a few days while everybody else gets their season going and starts playing games, and we got to sit on the sidelines and wait. I bet the coaches don't mind, though. I bet the coaches don't mind having a few days at the start of the season, a little bit longer than everybody else. We'll just have a little extra practice time. We'll work on a couple of things, maybe some special teams like power play and penalty kill, a couple of situational things. It's a chance to remind players again about the slashing, the enforcement, face-offs, work on a couple of plays, couple extra days of practice to go over some systems, to go over some structure, especially for a team like Vancouver. They got a bunch of young players that they're trying to integrate into their lineup and see what they've got to offer, see what they can put up on the ice. They've got a brand new head coach who's installing a new system, a new way of playing, because everything's new with a new head coach and coaching staff. It's clearly evident as well by the first few days of the NHL season in 2017 and 18 that there's a few teams that do have some things to work on. And some of the games that you've been watching, some of the games I've been watching, there's been some sloppy play. There's been some missed passes, and not just, oh, we're trying to fire one up the ice and see what happens. It's just things are a little off. Things are a little stilted, a little herky-jerky if you prefer. Now, some might suggest, well, this is a proof that we need training camp. We need a longer training camp. Maybe right after Labor Day, teams should start, and we should have a longer training camp with games played, and guys can work themselves into their system. No, I think it's the other way. I like to be the contrarian in this one and say, shorten it up further. Week of young players, veterans, 5 years or less in the league, perhaps. You play a few games, then you go. Just go. Start playing. If it's a little bit stilted, if it's a bit uncomfortable, if it's a bit scrambly, if it's a bit unpredictable, is that really a bad thing? I don't think so. I think unpredictable games is good. We've seen in the first few days some things, though, that have been pretty remarkable already, even with an abbreviated training camp, veterans only playing in a game or two. We've already seen some really cool things in the first couple of days of the NHL season. Lots of scoring in a few games, big scores, even some double digits. Hawk fans are happy. Connor McDavid, hat trick. Wayne Simmons, hat trick. Brandon Saad, hat trick. Alex Ovechkin, hat trick. That's just in the first couple of days of the NHL season. This is the kind of scoring that we've seen. You have my attention. Let's please see more of this in the regular season. I really hope we do. I don't want to get too excited because remember, just go back a year and everyone was all revved up about the prospect of more offense and more scoring. And then we realized we were just having our cord pulled and things soon dissipated, went back to normal, went back to 5 to 5.3 or 5.4 goals per game, whatever the average is. Remember last season in the early going, we all raved about how wonderful it was. There was more scoring. There were some comebacks, multi-goal comebacks in some cases. All happened in the first few weeks of last season, and we were all excited thinking, this is wonderful, this is exciting, this is great hockey we're seeing. Skill, offense, speed, scoring, comebacks, all the things that you want. Unpredictability, drama. Oh yeah, that's what we wanted. And then it all kind of withered and went away last season. And we got back to the same kind of 5.2, 5.3 goals per game. That's too bad. It's frustrating because we like scoring. We like offense. We want to see more scoring and offense. I'm hoping that this crackdown, if you will, on slashing, doesn't that sound funny? How many times have you heard that expression now? They're cracking down on slashing. It sounds funny to say cracking down on slashing, but I'm hoping the calling of penalties by the rule book helps with bumping up the scoring just a little bit, giving offensive players, skilled players, a little more opportunity to show their skill, demonstrate their abilities and talents. Maybe it just gives us a little bump. The whining about the penalties by the announcers, I hope that stops soon. Oh, here we go, another slashing call. Some of them are in mid-season form about whining about officiating. Just because the penalty went against your team doesn't mean it was a bad call. Seen some interesting things on television and in coverage of the National Hockey League, even in this early going, even in these first few days of the NHL regular season. I have seen some interesting things already. I want to do a whole segment on it tomorrow, because we'll have the first night of Hockey Night in Canada coverage across Canada, and I want to kind of watch that and see if there's some new or different things this year. And I'll do a whole segment on the TV coverage tomorrow. It has been interesting, even through the preseason and into the start of the regular season. But quite interesting what you may have seen so far. There have been some positive changes and some really good things, and I'm pleased about that. More coverage, better coverage. I'm a big proponent of that. That's what I want to see. Great thing about last night on Friday, we had the newest NHL franchise begin play in the National Hockey League. Vegas Golden Knights, in their first official NHL game, took place in Dallas against the Stars, had a nice storybook finish to it. Two of their prize picks played key roles in the Vegas Golden Knights coming up with a victory. Kind of a nice storybook finish. Marc-Andre Fleury was sensational. He was making some incredibly acrobatic saves. Wonderful to watch. This was the Marc-Andre Fleury they had hoped for. This was the guy who was going to give them an opportunity, give them a chance. I think he made about 45 saves last night, kept them in the game. And then James Neal, dealing with a hand injury. Wasn't even sure he was going to be able to play at the start of the season after undergoing surgery, trying to recover. He winds up scoring both goals in the Vegas Golden Knights team victory. First one was a nice shot, a deflection that found its way into the net. And in the late stages, it's a 2-on-1. He makes an incredible shot from his knees, puts the puck into the top corner over a sprawling Kari Lehtinen, puts Vegas up 2-1. They managed to hold on, get the victory. It was wonderful. It was great. A couple of other things on this game, too. Nice opening ceremonies. I like the opening ceremonies of opening night. Really nice job by the Dallas Stars last night, who honored a couple of their own who has recently passed away, including Dave Strader. It was really nicely done. And of course, everyone's still coming to grips with all of the events that took place in Las Vegas a few days ago. Prior to the start of the game, the Dallas Stars team skated over and lined up behind the Vegas Golden Knights to stand with them in a show of solidarity in the national anthem. I don't know who thought of this, but well done. Absolutely perfect. Brilliant. Absolutely wonderful. Tremendous. Just a really terrific thing for the Dallas Stars organization and the Dallas Stars players to do. Really wonderful. By the way, I was watching this game on NHL Network as a bunch of other people were, I'm sure. I noticed that, and this is the one TV thing I will mention today. The NHL Network is running their ticker along the bottom and promoting their upcoming shows, and the ticker on the bottom of the screen promoting NHL Tonight, and it says, tune into NHL Tonight for coverage of all 30 NHL teams. That's 30 teams. Hey, Vegas, I'd let the NHL Network know that you've begun play in the National Hockey League. I tweeted that out last night. We'll put it up on Twitter. We'll put it up on our Instagram feed as well. Somebody's got to update that ticker. I'm not crapping on anybody for doing it. It's a little thing that slips through the cracks, but these are the kind of small details that you gotta take care of and look after. It was pretty funny last night. We'll get into a whole bunch of other stuff on games last night. A busy Saturday coming up today, and lots to talk about in terms of the National Hockey League. Home openers, season openers for a few teams. Rob Volman, hockey statistician, will join us a little bit later this hour. And coming up right after the break, Isabel Kershudian from the Washington Post, who covers the Caps. We'll talk about the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens tonight. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles. Yes, we're looking for your Dog of the Day nominees. Use the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. Tweet them to us. Send us a photo on Instagram. We'll pick a winner by the end of the show. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. Back with more after the break. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to
to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff. The Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we've partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Nova Product Design is designed for manufacturing. Nova Product Design can get the job done with mechanical and industrial design. Nova Product Design is also fully functional for laser cutting, water jet cutting, plating, coatings, and more. Nova Product Design, innovative design and the latest technologies. Nova Product Design can design, build, and test any required types of prototypes and beta units. Visit novaproductdesign.com. We're looking for your Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day nominations every Saturday. Now you can send them through Instagram. Use the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. Send us a photo of your dog on Twitter or Instagram to nominate them as the HU Dog of the Day. Include your name, the dog's name, and any other cool details you want. We choose a winner and add them to the Dog of the Day gallery on our website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Hashtag HU Dog of the Day.
Welcome back. It's Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. It's the Saturday edition. We are here streaming live every Saturday and Sunday, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, at Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles, looking for your Dog of the Day nominees. Today, HU Dog of the Day is the hashtag to use. Oh, yeah. We're looking for them. We have great submissions, and we're looking forward to great photos again today. Coming up on the program, Kevin Kurz, who covers the San Jose Sharks for the Athletic San Francisco, will join us later on in the program. Sharks have a game tonight against the Los Angeles Kings. Derek Wills, Calgary Flames radio play-by-play voice, will also join us later on in the program. He of the Calgary Flames radio network. Flames, of course, getting an awful lot of attention in the last few days because of an opening night loss to the Edmonton Oilers, but that's okay because the mullet has arrived. The mullet has arrived. Yes, Jaromir Jagr signed by the Calgary Flames. I talked about it last week. I talked about it on our Little Saturday podcast, which comes on Wednesdays. Our midweek Little Saturday podcast. It's a little bit of weekend in the middle of the week. Our producer, Chelsea Clyde, named it the Little Saturday podcast because it's everybody likes a little bit of weekend in the middle of the week. There are lots of European countries and others who use Wednesday as another night to go out and celebrate and play like it's the weekend. So we've called it the Little Saturday podcast because it's a little weekend in the middle of the week. So I talked about Jaromir Jagr. I haven't changed my feelings. I still feel the same way that I think I'm skeptical at best that he will be a positive addition for the Calgary Flames. I didn't think anybody would sign him, but yes, apparently they did. So we'll see. And whether he makes it into the lineup or not tonight, I don't know. Apparently wasn't feeling too good after practice yesterday. So he'll make that decision and when he might get back into the lineup. But we'll have to wait and see. He'll of course update us on his terms and what he thinks is going to be the right time for him to get into the lineup. I don't know. I'm really skeptical. I know that everybody's talking about him. Oh, he might be able to get 40 points. He got 40 points last year, only had 16 goals. But you know, maybe he'll be able to play on a better line. He'll have better line mates. And That might be something that will cause him to bump up his scoring. But I think if you cater to Jaromir Jagr, as teams will want to do, then you're going to sacrifice what could really make your team successful. I don't know. This has been a big distraction for the Calgary Flames for the last few days. They had shut out on opening night by Connor McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers. 3-0, McDavid, hat trick. What a sensational player. We could talk all day about Connor McDavid and how good he is. I am salivating at the opportunity to watch him play again tonight. Edmonton's in Vancouver. Think he did well against Calgary? He could do really well against Vancouver. Calgary Flames, who had a good defense, thought they had bolstered it even further, added to it. Some suggesting the best defense in the National Hockey League. Can't slow down, can't contain Connor McDavid on opening night. I know it's just one night. It's too early to jump to enormous conclusions, but I know what I saw. And the Calgary Flames, who went and turned over their goaltending again. Not that Mike Smith played poorly. He made a whole bunch of saves. He made 40-plus saves. I get it. And their defense was good. It wasn't good enough to stop Connor McDavid. And again, it's too early to jump to hard and fast final conclusions. But there should have been some eyes opened in Calgary. So we'll talk more about that. But notice everybody's talking about Jaromir Jagr. Nobody's talking about anything else to do with Calgary Flames. And I'm not saying that that's the only reason he was signed, but it sure does get a lot of heat and a lot of attention off your team. Some suggesting this was only a PR move. I don't think it was only a PR move. I think they believe he can help. I don't necessarily share that belief. I'm going to be anxious to see what they can do, the Calgary Flames can do over the next few games. And this is the early part of the season where everyone's kind of looking at their team. Mention that things are still a bit stilted and not smooth, uncomfortable. Takes time to learn new players, learn new line mates, in some cases learn new systems because you've got different coaching staffs and different ways of doing things. So that takes time, and it's not going to all happen in the preseason. So I understand that. But there are other teams that I'm really anxious to see where they go after the first game or couple of games. There are teams that I have watched, and I've kind of looked at them with a puzzled eye and wondered, this is going to be interesting. And Calgary's one of those teams because there was no focus on their offense and their forward lines prior to the start of the season. It was, we got to be better defensively. We need goaltending. We need to shore up our defense. So they did. And they thought that was the right move. And it may prove to be. I still think they have to look at the competition in their division and in the Western Conference, though. But we've seen some interesting things on opening nights in the first few games of the season. Remembering it's only one game and not trying to get too carried away, not trying to get too excited. But there's other things you can get excited about. Hawks opening up. They've had big turnover. They brought back Brandon Saad, who they got back from the Columbus Blue Jackets, traded away a couple of years ago as they were making salary cap choices and decisions. Brought him back. Patrick Sharp was an unrestricted free agent, had a terrible year last year with the Dallas Stars, was injured, had off-season surgery. He seems to be back. He's in the fold. He scores a goal the other night. Brandon Saad has a hat trick. Your team scores 10, and everybody is singing, "Here Come the Hawks." Oh, we're excited. Look at this. It was terrific. It was fun to watch. If you're a Hawk fan, you were loving that game. Because, yes, you got dumped out of the playoffs in the first round. And Pittsburgh Penguins, the defending Stanley Cup champions, showed up in your building. Oh, you don't care that they played the night before and had all the banner-raising ceremonies and stuff. These are the defending Stanley Cup champions, and you whipped them. Antti Niemi, Boy, oh boy. There's somebody who's going to have an eye kept on him early going for the Pittsburgh Penguins. And I don't know if you were watching or got to see the Hawks broadcast or on any of the highlights, because they showed it on the Hawks broadcast. And Pat Foley was talking and giggling about it when it happened. But as Antti Niemi was hustling to lead the team out onto the ice, trips and falls. Was that a sign of things to come? Sure looked like it. Trips and falls, stumbles. Oh boy. So I'm interested to see what the Hawks do, because their game tonight on Saturday is against the Columbus Blue Jackets. How perfect is that? So quickly, so early in the season, you've got Brandon Saad and Artemi Panarin, two players that were traded for one another, facing off against each other. This could be one of the best games of Saturday to watch. Chicago Blackhawks, Columbus Blue Jackets. Hawks had a huge win in their opener against the Pittsburgh Penguins, defending Stanley Cup champions. They chased out Antti Niemi. They pumped a bunch more goals past Matt Murray. That was as flaccid a team as you'll ever see. They just could not get off the ice fast enough to end that one. And the Columbus Blue Jackets, who opened up on Friday, yeah, they had a big night. Sergei Bobrovsky, shutout. Sonny Milano, Pierre-Luc Dubois score their first career goals. They have a big night. So you've got two teams that had home openers, big nights, scoring a bunch of goals. These two teams face off on Saturday in Chicago. I think this is going to be a terrific game. I think it could be really good. They've got a history with one another. They've made a bunch of trades back and forth. I think this could be one of the best games. Hawks fans are excited because they've seen a bunch of scoring. Columbus Blue Jackets fans are excited because, yes, they had a big night in their opener, and they've got expectations this year. Columbus Blue Jackets fans have expectations this year. Yes, they were quickly eliminated from the postseason last year. There's expectations in Columbus this year, and that's not going to be acceptable. It was fun on opening night. The cannon was going off. Fans were cheering. Players getting their first goals. Bobrovsky has another shutout. He looked terrific. I haven't seen if Bobrovsky will play tonight in the back-to-back games. I think they should. Might be a good move. But I think that could be one of the best games of the night. Saturday night, two teams that had big openers. Could be a lot of fun to watch that one. We had some little difficulty connecting with Isabel Kershudian of the Washington Post to talk Capitals. We will shuffle her and move her to a little bit later on this hour. She will join us, though, to talk about the Caps, because Ovi had a big night in his opener, and the Caps had a big comeback, spurred, of course, by Alex Ovechkin. So we will talk about that. We will talk hockey statistics coming up in our next segment with hockey statistician Rob Volman. He's written a couple of books on statistics, analytics, if you want to use the A word. I may try to avoid that because it gets people agitated, but we'll talk statistics and the use of statistics and analytics when it comes to looking at players, looking at teams, making choices, making decisions, and much more all coming up. Kevin Kerr's talking San Jose Sharks. Derek Wills talking Calgary Flames. Yeah, I got questions. I'm skeptical about Yager. We'll get into that and a whole bunch more. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles, looking for your nominees for the HU Dog of the Day. That's the hashtag HU Dog of the Day on Twitter, on Instagram. We pick a winner every Saturday. Back with much more and talking statistics with Rob Volman after the break.
There's special savings for Hockey Unfiltered listeners with our new ticket partner, Seat Giant. And Canadian fans can also purchase in Canadian dollars. Go to seatgiant.ca, find the tickets you're looking for. Doesn't matter if it's NHL games, concerts, or any other event. You get a special discount with the promo code TODD. That's Todd with 2 D's. Just enter the code, get the discount, you save. That's simple. Save on your next ticket purchase with Hockey Unfiltered and Seat Giant. The best way to get set for the busy Saturday night of hockey is with Hockey Primetime. Beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern, host Connor McKenna whips you around the league for the latest stories and info leading up to the early game starts. Plus, he'll give his own spin on the biggest stories in the National Hockey League. Hockey Primetime with Connor McKenna. Sometimes serious, sometimes a little goofy, but always interesting. Listen live at hockeyprimetime.com, 5 p.m. Eastern every Saturday. Search engine optimization is the key to success for your online business. It can be the key to success for any business. 1-844-SEO-LEAD is the number to call to get your business at the top of all searches. An official partner of Google, they have the tools necessary to make your business the one people notice first. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now you can nominate your dog or any dog you love as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day through Instagram. Every Saturday, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis will take your nominations for the Dog of the Day. Use the hashtag #HUDogoftheDay. Send us a photo with the dog on Twitter or Instagram to nominate your dog. We choose a winner at the end of the show, and your dog will be recognized in the HU Dog of the Day gallery on our website and Facebook page. Hashtag HU Dog of the Day. Creativity and innovation are the hallmarks of Nova Product Design. Whether it's mechanical or industrial, cutting-edge technology and a commitment to excellence make Nova Product Design the company to choose. Prototypes and beta units are a Nova Product Design specialty. Striving for revolutionary new ideas and methods keep Nova Product Design at the forefront of innovation. Visit novaproductdesign.com and learn more.
Welcome back. It's Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. It's the Saturday edition, streaming live Saturdays and Sundays, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, powered by Primetime Radio. Follow us on our website, hockeyunfiltered.com. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Periscope. We're live on YouTube and a number of other platforms as well. And of course, don't forget, if you miss anything, our podcast's available. Subscribe through iTunes, through iHeartRadio, and of course, they're available on our website, hockeyunfiltered.com. Isabel Kershudian covering the Caps to join us before the top of the hour. She of the Washington Post. Kevin Kurz talking Sharks. Derek Wills talking Calgary Flames. And now the statistical math portion of the program. Rob Volman is a hockey statistician, the author of Hockey Abstract and Stat Shot. You can follow him on Twitter at Rob Volman NHL. And he joins us on the line now. Rob, I appreciate the time today. Thanks for joining us. I'm not being a smart ass when I ask this, but why do people get so agitated at the mere mention of hockey analytics?
I don't know. Maybe it's flashbacks to failing math in high school. I don't know what it is. I think sports fans are passionate in general. Whether you talk about stats or not, we all like to get together and argue about any aspect of the game. And I guess because the numbers are the newest kid on the block, maybe they're going to get targeted a bit more than other areas.
Is it perhaps too because hockey by culture is so structured? This is the way we do it. They are so resistant and against any sort of change at times that whenever something new or unique is introduced, or heaven forbid a player shows personality, people immediately say, nope, that won't work here.
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess every field kind of has that. I mean, even in baseball, I mean, they went through the baseball in the 80s and the 90s. And even if you forget about sports, even in politics, you see that all the time, people getting mad about the statisticians coming in with their poll numbers. You know, in any line of work, in any business, in any field, there's always a bit of a pushback. And I think part of the reason is when numbers get put out here, people expect that to explain 100% of what's going on. And if it doesn't explain 100%, well, then it's garbage. Well, that's not a realistic, expectation to have of the numbers. In fact, in my latest book, we took a look at just how well stats can predict the standings. Like, what portion of the standings can stats predict? And we came up with 39%. So 61% is still out there. But that doesn't mean it's garbage. 39% is better than zero. I mean, being able to come in and shed light on 39% of the game is of value. And I think the people that just discard that because it's not 100, are missing out on a valuable piece.
Rob Volman is with us, hockey statistician at Rob Volman. NHL is how you follow him on Twitter. So give us, for those that are still resistant or really haven't embraced the statistical or analytic part of the game yet, what are some of the most important areas that NHL teams, general managers, and coaches should be looking at in terms of numbers and their team?
Well, it all depends on where you're coming from. For instance, coaches will be most interested in some of the strategies. Just to give one example, goalies. When you pull the goalie, the conventional wisdom is you pull the goalie with about a minute and a half left. And yet we've known as far back as 1976 there was a study done, but it's been repeated more recently, that actually it's more like 3.5 minutes you should be pulling your goalie, depending on, the scoring rate and if you have a power play and other game factors. I think way earlier than goalies are currently being pulled. That's what coaches should look at. And then, scouts, they should be looking at a variety of information that we've learned about young players that they're developing, and including the quality of the league they're playing in, their age, right down to the month and the factor those can be statistically. And as far as front offices, they're looking at player valuation models to sort of plan, especially in the salary cap era, be able to evaluate players relative to the amount of cap space that they use, and being able to take the context in which players are used into account.
That's a good point about the salary cap, and maybe that's the best way to bring people on board and understand that this is another tool or other tools that teams can and should be using to help better understand what their players can do for them based on a cost, whether it's it's not just the number of goals a player scores based on his salary, but what does a defenseman do? They're not going to score as many goals as a forward does. Or how many goals can they prevent? How many 2-on-1s can they break up? I'm really being simplistic about it, but these are areas that teams can be looking at and fans are going to need to understand in the future as well.
Absolutely, and we explored that a little bit in the first chapter of Stat Shot. But basically, your goal is to try to summarize a player's value in a single number, the number of goals that player scores or prevents, either directly or indirectly. And of course, we're getting better and better at coming up with that number over the years. Now, you want to take a weighted average of the past several seasons, not just last year, because a player can have a hot year or a cold year or an injured year. So you want to take a weighted average of several years. Then you want to calculate how much random variation is in that, and you want to regress that to the mean. You might have heard regression to the mean, but you want to do that, and then you want to apply an age curve, because young players, they get better. They hit the prime around age 24. They maintain that in their 20s, and then they can really start to decline in their 30s. You want to put that into your projection, and then finally, as I mentioned, you want to calculate that number relative to their cap space, because your roster can have a very, very good player, very valuable, but he uses so much cap room that you're actually better off if he left. You're better off using that cap space with other players.
That's going to be the norm going forward, that general managers and teams are going to have to make decisions about players based on what their contract status is. And also in terms of contract negotiations, you mentioned that players are peaking at 24 and earlier. It used to be that players would get rewarded for contracts or for their past achievements in later contracts. It's going the other way now because players are coming into the league better prepared than ever before. They're peaking earlier than ever before. And that's why we're getting giant contracts like the one Jack Eichel signed a few days ago. And players of that ilk are going to get rewarded. I don't want to say for not accomplishing as much, but they're going to be rewarded in advance of what they're about to achieve.
That's a combination of things. One is, well, you'd rather invest on a player that's sort of on the way up, sort of paying for potential, because that's where the value is going to be in the cap. Whereas when you sign a player who's 29, he already is what he is. And if anything, he's going to wind up declining throughout the duration of the contract. So, the bigger contracts are going to go to the younger players. And furthermore, there's all sorts of rules in the CBA that limit how much players can be paid on their entry-level contract and limit the ability of other teams to compete with you when it's a restricted free agent. So there's a lot of reasons why young players are valued. And that's why you might have noticed this past summer that a lot of veteran forwards like Mike Camilleri and Patrick Sharp, and even recently Jaromir Jagr, and so on and so forth, they all signed for around $1 million, 1 year $1 million. These are very, very good players. A few years ago, they would have gotten $5 or $6 million. Now, $1 million. Why? Because the league is moving a lot more to those younger players.
Rob Volman is with us, NHL statistician. At Rob Volman NHL is how you follow him on Twitter. His books are Hockey Abstract and Stat Shot. One of the teams that really embraced analytics, statistics a couple of years ago was the Florida Panthers. Now, we all know about the ups and downs and the drama of the Florida Panthers. And did they go too far, in your opinion, with analytics and selecting players and choosing players? Did they simply not have the right circumstances to allow those choices and decisions to play out? Because they seem to have shifted away from that somewhat.
No, I don't agree with that at all. I understand that they built an analytics department and they started using analytics, but if I had to rank them based on the percentage of their decisions that actually met with the approval of the analytics community, they were no higher than any other team. They are roughly average. They're really not representative of a team that was using analytics. I mean, they built a team and maybe they had a chair at the table for a while, but it wasn't at the head. About half their decisions were, against, I guess, what the numbers would have said.
Well, and I'm going back to
a team that's really embraced analytics.
Sorry, I lost you for a second, but I'm going back to the start of the 16-17 season and that summer leading up. There were a number of choices and decisions that seemed to be made based more on analytics than anything else.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that they were anti-analytics. I would say they were, typical. I wouldn't list them as one of the top 10 teams that were using analytics. I think a better example would be the Toronto Maple Leafs, because they were definitely anti-analytics. They were probably their use of analytics in 2013, 2014, 2015, the previous iteration. Then after the so-called crash, the fall, they embraced analytics. They have one of the largest, most funded analytics departments, and they very quickly changed the direction and they changed their decisions. And two of their decisions are actually disagreed with by the general, analytics community. There's a few of them, like the Roman Polak signing, but very few of them. And so I think Toronto's a better example of a team that went from completely anti-analytics to moves that absolutely meet with thumbs up from the community.
Interesting, since they have Lou Lamoriello, who is as their general manager, who's looked at as an old school guy, and the Arizona Coyotes have a young general manager and who seem to be pointed to as the team that is embracing analytics more than others.
Yeah, well, first of all, Lou does have a background in math, and he does like analytics, despite his old school reputation. He is one of the leading people in analytics as far as GMs go. And John Chayka, you're right, that's another excellent example, and he's definitely been picking up steam because he had an excellent summer, at least from the perspective of the number crunchers, and it's really amazing what he's done with the top four. 2 years ago, Arizona started the season with Ekman-Larsson playing with Murphy, Stone, Mikhailuk, not a lot of strong top four defensemen there. This year, he's starting Ekman-Larsson with Goligoski, Chalmerson, and Demers, which is an amazingly improved top four, probably from one of the worst top fours to a top 10 top four in 2 years. And I think John Chayka probably has his fingerprints all over that.
Interesting to see how teams have changed and evolved. And yes, analytics, statistics, if you prefer, definitely a tool that general managers and teams and coaches should be using. Rob Volman, follow him on Twitter at Rob Volman NHL. The books are Hockey Abstract and Stat Shot. Rob, thanks for the time today. I appreciate it. I'm sure we'll be talking again soon.
Yeah, thanks a lot. You bet. And yeah, look forward to checking in during the season.
Thanks, Rob. Rob Volman, NHL statistician. It's foolish. It's dumb not to look at numbers and ways that you might improve your team. Although it still goes on in many areas. Why wouldn't you look at statistics? It's just that phrase, analytics. But that's what you do with the numbers, is you analyze them. There's a lot to be learned. I think it's really interesting that the Maple Leafs are being viewed as one of the best analytic teams too. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles to reach us. Hashtag HU Dog of the Day to nominate your dog as Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We choose one every Saturday. We'll have a winner by the end of the show. Coming up on the program, Derek Wills, Calgary Flames radio play-by-play voice, Kevin Kurz, who covers the Sharks for the Athletic San Francisco, and Isabel Kershudian covering the Washington Capitals for the Washington Post. She will join us in our next segment. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, back after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Look, we know it happens. Life gets in the way and sometimes you can't catch the live edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. But we've made it easy for you to catch up on the show you might have missed. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis is available as a podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Blog Talk Radio. You don't want to miss an episode. If you miss the live show, check out the podcast. Don't miss any shows. There's a test coming up later. Subscribe now. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message.
SEO-LEAD. Use the code Get the Savings. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis listeners save with Seat Giant and the promo code TODD. That's TODD at SeatGiant.com. Just log on to SeatGiant.com to find the best tickets to NHL games, concerts, or whatever you want and save. Use the promo code TODD. That's TODD when you check out and you save. Canadian listeners can save at SeatGiant.ca. That's SeatGiant.com and .ca. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more.
Welcome back. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. It's the Saturday edition. We are here every Saturday, every Sunday, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, streaming live at hockeyunfiltered.com, powered by Primetime Radio. Also live on Facebook, also live on Periscope, YouTube Live, and other platforms. Lots to come to on this program. Kevin Kurz of the Athletic San Francisco will join us. We'll talk about the San Jose Sharks. Sharks with a big game tonight against the Los Angeles Kings. Oh, yeah, that'll be an interesting one. There's the rivalry in California. NoCal, SoCal, they don't particularly like each other, too. This could be a really interesting season for the San Jose Sharks as well. Of course, Patrick Marleau departed as an unrestricted free agent. He has moved east, taken up with the Toronto Maple Leafs. Joe Thornton coming back from an injury. I think he'll be fine, but it's an interesting season for the San Jose Sharks. Derek Wills, radio play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames, will also join us later on in the program as well. We had a little phone trouble earlier. We're happy we've connected with her. She covers the Capitals for the Washington Post. You can follow her on Twitter at @Kershudian. Isabel Kershudian joins us on the line. Isabel, glad we were able to connect. And how much pressure are the Washington Capitals under this year after 2 seasons of they're expected to win the President's Trophy and the Stanley Cup this season? Not so much.
Yeah, by the way, sorry, my Apple iPhone had a meltdown. Yeah, they're definitely, I think it's a different kind of pressure. You know, there's this, kind of pressure of time passing and, sort of the window closing and mortality creeping up on, some of the marquee players on the team. But at the same time, there's almost less pressure because I don't think everybody's, picking them to be the team this year. I think it's, there's a little bit more doubt, I guess, as far as if they can do it. And maybe, without quite that weight of expectation, they'll do better. Maybe they'll feel better, I guess, thrive in that situation where people are counting them out a little bit right now. So it's, there's like another year going by where if they don't win the Stanley Cup this year, then, it's another year out of the window, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, there's also not quite the same expectations on this group just because they're not as strong on paper, at least.
I wonder if people are almost looking by the Washington Capitals because there are other teams that are a little more darling in the Eastern Conference that are going to get some more attention, whether it's the Pittsburgh Penguins and it's all the discussion of can they repeat and make it 3 in a row? Is there talk about the Columbus Blue Jackets, who a lot of people are high on because, well, they had such a good turnaround season last year. They're bound to take the next step. Or is it over in the Atlantic where it's the Toronto Maple Leafs, same thing, had a nice turnaround season. It's inevitable they're going to progress further. Tampa's going to be back in the postseason. And everybody, I think, is kind of looking past the Washington Capitals a little bit. They're going to be a good team this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a lot more jammed up this year, where, like, last year you had, a couple teams, the Capitals included, the Penguins, the Blue Jackets, that seem to be, like, a step above everyone else. I would put the Wild in that category. And then, this year it's like, I think you look across the board and a lot of teams have flaws, like the Capitals. I would say Capitals, you wonder about, like, their depth on defense. But then you look at Pittsburgh and you wonder about their center depth. I think there's several teams where, because of expansion drafts, because the cap didn't go up that much, yada, yada, these teams aren't perfect. The Capitals, on paper, they didn't have any holes last year, which is why the expectations were so high. And for fans, it's kind of an unusual situation to have a roster that, isn't, absolutely flawless. Where there is some kind of uncertainty and some question marks of who's going to play where. If the roster we see now will look anything like the one, by the end of the season. I think, Caps fans and, maybe just fans of the NHL in general have gotten kind of spoiled by, maybe how complete the Caps have been the past couple of years. And this is more of a more normal looking roster. Doesn't mean it's going to be, bad though. I think it's just going to maybe be a little bit more of a process and patience for everybody.
Yeah, I think the early part of the season will be a bit of finding out which players are going to fit in specific roles. Some of the younger players, are they going to be able to take on larger roles? Is Brooks Orpik going to be able to play as much as he has and in the past, because he's going to be relied upon a little bit more this year because of the changes in their defense core. But when you've got a team that's got Braden Holtby in goal, you've got a pretty good defense core, and you got Alex Ovechkin and you got TJ Oshie and some others that can score goals, there's not going to be this enormous drop-off by the Caps. And this could almost work in their favor, is that they get, I don't want to say overlooked, but not taken to be the dominant force as they have been in the past.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think they have quite a few questions about, what their defense is going to look like, what their third pairing is going to look like. I think their forward depth is actually fine, even though they lost, Williams and Johansson. And, obviously those were guys that played key roles last year. But like you said, they still have Oshie, and they still have, Backstrom and Ovechkin, and, Kuznetsov's back, and they're expecting more out of him. I think Jacob Vrana, has shown that he's ready to play at the NHL level. And that's, their 2014 first-round pick. So, yeah, but it is going to be kind of a situation where, they have all these prospects kind of waiting in the wings, and they feel like some of them aren't quite ready. And so they're trying a few out right now. And it's just going to be kind of a rotating thing, I think, throughout the year until they find the right fit. But, they might not win quite as many games, but I don't see how other Metro teams are all that much better than them. I mean, I think they're probably not going to be a President's Trophy team this year, and I don't think they really care about that anymore. But as long as they make the playoffs, we saw what happened with Nashville last year, where they finished as the 16th team in and kind of made a run. So I think there's more focus on sort of this process of playing their best hockey at the end and trying to kind of develop guys as they go.
Isabelle Kershudian is with us. She covers the Washington Capitals for the Washington Post. You can follow her on Twitter at @iKershudian, talking about the Caps, their game again tonight against the Montreal Canadiens. And Isabelle, is the thing that might weigh or be most difficult for the Caps the mental hurdle to get over, putting and processing all of that stuff behind them, snapping out of it, if you will? That phrase was used. Is that something that they have to just get past and focus on this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big issue for the start of the season. I mean, training camp, there was like barely any enthusiasm, and I think it's because they are still kind of hungover from, the past few months where, the season ends and kind of the heartbreaking way it did for them. Another year where they, bowed out in the second round of the Penguins. Then they have a tough off season where, guys who have been on the team, for a while, like Carl Waltner and Johansson and even Williams had, 2 years kind of become a locker room favorite. And, Schmidt gets selected by Vegas. I mean, those are their friends that they're having to say goodbye to. I think that's hard. Sometimes we underrate how much, those connections are formed in the locker room. And, then they get to training camp and you're trying to figure out who plays with who. A bunch of guys have new line mates. They're like rotating around all these defense pairs. And I think it was just hard to kind of like get excited about another season when, they were still lamenting the lost opportunity from the last one. So I think Ovechkin Patrick on Thursday night helped. It was kind of exciting and, coming from behind in that game, winning in the shootout, maybe that's kind of the excitement they need to get going and kind of start to feel that enthusiasm again, I guess. But it is hard for them, I think, to really kind of get worked up about another season, if you know what I mean.
I thought it was great that Alex Ovechkin scored the hat trick in the third period to spur the Washington Capitals on. So, okay, he's on pace for 255 goals now this season. How many do you realistically think Ovi scores? I think he's a 40-goal scorer again this year.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I was going to say, if he gets 40, I think that's a great year for him. We're talking about someone who's 32 years old. It's really hard to score 30 goals in this league. So, yeah, I mean, if he scores 40, I think they're going to be pretty thrilled. And I think more important to them is that he's scoring again at even strength, because last year that was really more of the issue. It wasn't that he only finished with 33 goals. It was that only 16 of them were at even strength. And that's obviously, a concern. And they were looking, is he slowing down? And, he failing to adapt to the kind of changing style of the game where there's a lot of speed. And yeah, on Thursday night he showed he can still get that shot off. And when he does, it's, that hasn't changed. His shot's going to be a transcends any changes that go on in the NHL. So I think that's what they're looking for, is to see kind of more even strength production out of him, because they know he's going to kind of get his goals on the power play no matter what. And yeah, if they need him to replace some of that lost production from, Johansson and Williams, and I think he's more than happy to try and do that.
Isabelle Kershudian from the Washington Post, covering the Caps, at @iKershudian on Twitter. Great stuff, Isabelle. Fingers crossed that your phone recovers, and we'll talk again soon.
All right, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, Isabelle Kershudian. I think the Washington Capitals could be one of those sneaky teams that everybody looks at the standings in February and says, hey, these Caps are having a pretty good year. Ovi's having a pretty good year. Braden Holtby, oh yeah, surprise, he's stopping pucks again. It's going to be an interesting mix to see how they do. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles, looking for your nominees for the HU Dog of the Day, hashtag HU Dog of the Day. Send them to us, tweet them at us. On Instagram, we'll pick a winner at the end of our next hour. Closing in on the top of the hour, lots more to get to. The Saturday edition, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, back after the break.
The best way to get set for the busy Saturday night of hockey is with Hockey Primetime. Beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern, host Connor McKenna whips you around the league for the latest stories and info leading up to the early game starts. Plus, he'll give his own spin on the biggest stories in the National Hockey League. Hockey Primetime with Connor McKenna. Sometimes serious, sometimes a little goofy, but always interesting. Listen live at hockeyprimetime.com, 5 p.m. Eastern every Saturday. Creativity and innovation are the hallmarks of Nova Product Design. Whether it's mechanical or industrial, cutting-edge technology and a commitment to excellence make Nova Product Design the company to choose. Prototypes and beta units are a Nova Product Design specialty. Striving for revolutionary new ideas and methods keep Nova Product Design at the forefront of innovation. Visit novaproductdesign.com and learn more. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we've partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Being on the World Wide Web is great. Being found is the tricky part. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization is the only way your business can get a leg up on the competition. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. For the necessary tools to make your business stand out in a crowded marketplace, 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now it's even easier to nominate your dog as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day. We do it every Saturday. Send us a photo on Twitter or now on Instagram with the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We choose a winner every Saturday. That's simple. Now on Instagram or Twitter, send us the photo using the hashtag HU Dog of the Day, and your dog could be the one added to our gallery on the website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday.
This is Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis.
This is hour number 2 of the Saturday program. A busy one coming up. We'll be talking San Jose Sharks. We'll be talking Calgary Flames. We'll be talking all 31 teams in the National Hockey League. Kevin Kurz from the Athletic San Francisco will join us to talk Sharks. And also the radio play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames, Derek Wills, will join us. Talk about the Flames game tonight against Winnipeg. We'll get the latest on the mullet, when he might decide he's ready to play for the Flames. That and a whole bunch more all coming up straight ahead. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports are the Twitter and Instagram handles to reach us. Todd at hockeyunfiltered.com is the email. Send us your nominee for this week's HU Dog of the Day. That is the hashtag HU Dog of the Day on Twitter, on Instagram. We pick a winner every Saturday. Send us yours, and we'll decide on a winner before the end of the hour. And then, of course, we will add it into the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day gallery that's going up on our website and up on our Facebook page. Oh yeah, it's going to be a busy time. Lots to get into after a few days of the 2017-18 NHL season rolling in. We really kick it in today. 15 games on Saturday. 15 games, including afternoon action. New Jersey Devils are holding their opener in the afternoon. Yeah, I think that's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Holding their opener in the afternoon. I like the afternoon games. Not everybody does, but I like the afternoon games. Then there's a bunch of early evening games, and then you got 4 late games tonight. Settle in, choose your favorite snacks. All good to go. By the way, the New Jersey Devils are debuting their brand new scoreboard for their fans. All of the excitement and enthusiasm about opening day. You got a chance to show things off. This thing is a monster. I mean, it's unbelievable, this new scoreboard. It's a behemoth. 4 stories tall. Think about that for a second. Your scoreboard is 4 stories tall, 60 feet wide, and it weighs over 88,000 pounds. That's a big flipping scoreboard. That's the one in New Jersey. Also announced, by the way, just a day or so ago. I didn't see it in a lot of places. I think it's good though. back on the Devils radio broadcasts, Chico Resch. He's going to work as an ambassador for the team. I think that's great. I think that's really good. Devils have their opener today against the Colorado Avalanche. I've kind of surprised the Rangers the other day. Ooh, look out. But yeah, that's it's kind of a monster, that scoreboard. I'm anxious to see that. But there is an excitement, there is an enthusiasm about the start of the season. Home opener, season opener. Everybody goes through it. We've seen some good things. We've seen some interesting things so far this year. We've also seen some things that have kind of made you go, I don't know about that. There was the Vegas Golden Knights playing their first game ever last night. Thought it was terrific. Enjoyed the broadcast. I was watching the Vegas Golden Knights broadcast. That was the one that was running on NHL Network with Dave Gaucher, Shane Knighty. I thought it was good. Enthusiasm. Nice pregame ceremony in Dallas where the game was taking place. Stars, well done. Honoring Dave Strader and the Dallas Stars when they skated over and stood behind the Vegas Golden Knights as a show of support. I thought that was a really wonderful gesture. Really, really wonderful gesture. Well done, Dallas Stars. Vegas wins the game. James Neal scores 2 goals, both of the goals, including a beauty as the game winner late in the third period. Fun. Had players last night picking up their first NHL goal. Sonny Milano, Pierre-Luc Dubois. A couple of nights ago, Boston Bruins had Jake DeBrusk scoring his first NHL goal. His dad, Louis DeBrusk, former NHLer, an analyst in the crowd, moved to tears. Oh, how can you not be? Wonderful thing like that. Seeing your son, who's worked so hard for so long to make it to the National Hockey League, to be playing their first game on opening night, a rookie gets his first goal. Charlie McAvoy got his first goal as well. He's going to be a stud, that guy. I just love watching him play. I just think he's going to be so good. Is he going to be the Rookie of the Year? That'll be one of the things we watch as the season goes along. A lot of people are talking about Clayton Keller in Arizona, the Coyotes. Charlie McAvoy, though, pretty terrific player. Seen big scores. We've seen lopsided scores. But opening games, lots of new things, lots of excitement. Whether it's a new scoreboard like the New Jersey Devils are unveiling, or it's a brand new arena to go along with that scoreboard like the Detroit Red Wings had. Thursday night, it's big, it's red, it's shiny, and it's open. Little Caesars Arena. State-of-the-art building in 2017. Did we decide, are we calling it the Pizza Box? I think we got to call it the Pizza Box. Home team did their part for the opener. Anthony Mantha gets a goal. Dylan Larkin gets a goal. Martin Furt gets a goal. And Henrik Zetterberg. That's all nice. Opening night, Detroit Red Wings, they get a victory. But they didn't have all of those bright red seats filled at times. And late in the game, and at different points in the game, there was a lot of visibly empty red seats. Now, some are suggesting that's because it's opening night and fans were enjoying the building and scoping it out and checking out the lounges. Not so sure about that. There may have been some of that going on. I get it. But I checked. There were tickets available Thursday for the Detroit Red Wings home opener, first game in the new building. Tickets were available. Oh, no, they weren't in row 1 or anything, but there were lots of seats available. Ottawa Senators also had tickets available for their opening game against the Washington Capitals. Sens had a great run last year. Caps are a pretty good opponent. They got star power. Senators owner Eugene Melnyk saying he hoped the place would sell out for opening night. This is a concern. This should be a concern. It leads to the question about whether opening night is done the right way. Right now, it's basically a made-for-TV special where you have doubleheader nights in the U.S. and in Canada. And is this the right way to open the season? And you got the Stanley Cup champions that have one of the home games, and they do the banner-raising ceremony, and I get that. That's good. But a few thoughts on opening night, how it happens, when it happens. What if you shifted it and today was opening day? First day of play in the National Hockey League. It's only a few games you could make up. But if you had the opening day on the weekend, on a Saturday, like today, where there's 15 games going on, 15 games. It's a big mother of a blowout opening day. Everybody's playing, or almost everybody's playing, because we got an odd number of teams now. By the way, tweeted it out again. We put it on Instagram as well. A big oops from the NHL Network last night as their ticker is rolling along promoting, check out NHL Tonight, with all the stories of all 30 teams in the NHL. But I digress. It was kind of funny. Something that I'm sure will get looked at. But what about the timing of opening night as well? Should it be a Wednesday? Should it be the first week of October? Is that the right time to start the season? We've had 3 weeks of training camp that nobody really likes. Yes, you still got teams that look a bit out of sync and don't look smooth and polished, but that's okay. That's what you're supposed to see at the start of the year. If you back it up a little bit, what if you started the season a little bit earlier? You could wrap up a little bit earlier. Everybody's got an idea when the season should start, how it should end. I'd like to see it wrap up before June. I'd like to see it wrap up in May, no later than the end of May. The NHL is unique because unlike other sports leagues, there's the big significant Canadian contingent of teams. NBA, Major League Baseball, just one Canadian team. NFL, 0. And Canada is seen as the birthplace of hockey, and there are more than twice as many teams based in the U.S., which makes for kind of a funny dynamic, and in terms of how you put the scheduling together. There's TV contracts to consider, there's building availability to consider, and how do you make it all work? I'd be okay if you started the season earlier. Started at the end of September. That way you could wrap it up sooner. But right now, the NFL is well underway. You got Major League Baseball that's got playoffs going on. Maybe if you started a little sooner, you could end a little sooner. But this goes against what a lot of U.S. interests want, because they don't want to compete with football. Doesn't matter what the league is. They don't want to compete with football because it's just such a big draw and big attraction and takes so much attention that they'd like to, at times, some teams have suggested even starting the NHL season later. What are you going to do? Go to the end of June? I think it's better to start earlier. Get it underway. Get it finished in May. I think that's a better way to go. Put it on TV. Have a big blowout of a day. Make it on a Saturday. Everybody plays. As many as possible play. You're going to have one team that's left out. The Wednesday night, weeknight thing, that way you've got baseball going on. You've got the NFL, which is a constant story in the U.S. Maybe it's a Saturday. It's a traditional Canadian day. Canada would love it. You'd have all-day hockey. Maybe you make Saturday the big day. The big blowout, that's how we open the season. 15 games, loaded up. Afternoon, early evening, late night games right out on the West Coast. Everybody goes. We're launched right into it. And I'd be okay if it started a bit earlier. If you want to weigh in, please do. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles. Todd at hockeyunfiltered.com is the email address. A lot more to get to on the Saturday edition, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, streaming live at hockeyunfiltered.com, powered by Primetime Radio. We're live on Facebook. We're live on Periscope. We're live on YouTube. Coming up on the program, Derek Wills, radio play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames, will join us this hour. Kevin Kurz, who covers the San Jose Sharks for the Athletic San Francisco, also coming right up in our next segment. Interested to talk with Kevin about the Sharks, what their approach is this year, how the team is going to look different, how the team is going to change. Patrick Marleau, no longer a member of the San Jose Sharks, but there's other stories to go along with the San Jose Sharks as well. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. Back with more after the break.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. We know you hate to miss an episode of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, so you don't have to. All of our shows are available as podcasts just after the live broadcast finishes. Yeah, we have dozens of little elves that work really hard and get all the audio put together and then distributed out into the universe. Not exactly, but it's available through our website, and you can subscribe through iTunes, iHeartRadio, Blog Talk Radio, and all kinds of other places. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, always available on demand. Check it out on our website. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more. So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff, the Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. It's the Saturday edition here every Saturday and Sunday, streaming live at hockeyunfiltered.com, powered by Primetime Radio, at Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles to follow us. Lots to get into with 15 games on the Saturday schedule, a busy Saturday, just the way we like it, an afternoon contest, plenty of early evening contests, and late games as well. There are 4 of them, and they include the San Jose Sharks on the schedule late, hosting the Los Angeles Kings. Kevin Kurz covers the San Jose Sharks for The Athletic San Francisco. You can follow him on Twitter at KKurzNHL, and he joins us on the line now. Kevin, first off, congrats on the new gig with The Athletic. Good for you. I'm really enjoying all the stuff I'm seeing so far on The Athletic. It's this is an unsolicited plug, but I'm really enjoying it.
Yeah, thanks. It's nice to, take deeper dives into some subjects, and we're not really writing about morning skate line combinations, injury reports, so it leaves some more time. You don't have to chase some of these page views like some of the other sites used to do.
Thank you. Yes, we appreciate that. So talk about the game tonight between the San Jose Sharks and the Los Angeles Kings. I love that these two teams are playing so early. There's a great rivalry, I think, between these two teams. I mean, I'm in the East, you're in the West, but I just love it when the California teams face each other, especially Northern California, Southern California.
Yeah, and these are two teams that I think I'm not sure a lot of people really know what to expect out of either of them. The Sharks obviously lost in the first round after the Stanley Cup final appearance, and didn't really make any moves in the off season. Some of their key guys are really starting to get up there in age, and the Kings coming off missing the playoffs under a new coach. They obviously still have Kopitar, Carter, Doughty, and Jonathan Quick. So, I think they're going to be out to kind of prove that they still belong in the mix too. So, should make for a pretty good game tonight.
The biggest name departure from the San Jose Sharks in the offseason, of course, with Patrick Marleau, who signed as a free agent with the Toronto Maple Leafs. 2 parts for you. What will the San Jose Sharks miss about Patrick Marleau, and what do you think the Toronto Maple Leafs will gain having Patrick Marleau?
Well, the Sharks obviously have to fill his 27 goals he scored last year, and that's the biggest challenge for this team because, offensively they struggled to begin with last season. That a lot of that had to do with power play, but Patrick Marleau was part of that top power play unit, so he's off of that now. So they really need some of these young guys like Kevin LeBanc, and maybe some, a Marcus Sorensen who's in the minors now. They need some of these guys to come up and do something, because really now is the time that this team should be transitioning younger, and they really have not found any pieces yet that I think they can count on in terms of younger guys. This is a team that's going to rely, once again, mostly on, I think, its older veterans. So if they can find someone to make up for those goals that they're losing with Marlowe, I think that'll help. Now, I don't think it's a huge loss, frankly. There's no way the Sharks were going to get Patrick Marlowe what the Toronto Maple Leafs gave them. They have too much money committed elsewhere, and I think it was time really for both parties to move on there. But Marlowe obviously is still a guy, if you're looking at this from the Maple Leafs perspective, that takes care of himself. For being 38 years old, he's in ridiculous shape. Just comes to the rink, does his job. He's not a real vocal guy, so I think from the Sharks' perspective, they won't miss him a whole lot in terms of leadership. I think they got plenty of that still in that dressing room. But from if you're looking at it in Toronto's side, I think they could probably use a guy that just leads by example, and you can show these kids that are on that Maple Leafs roster that if you want to play and be an effective player well into your 30s, here's how you do it. Just take a page out of this guy's book.
Kevin Kurz is our guest, covers the San Jose Sharks for the Athletic San Francisco. At @KKurzNHL is how you follow him on Twitter. It's the Sharks hosting the Los Angeles Kings in their game tonight at HP Pavilion. Now, you mentioned Kevin LeBanc. He got some attention in game number 1, mostly because he was taking some penalties, and the power play chances resulted in goals. And I don't think that's the kind of notice he wants from Pete DeBoer and the team.
Yeah, it was. His 2 goals were gorgeous goals too. I mean, that's the positive you take out of this, is that he really looked good on that line with Joe Thornton and Joe Pavelski, and that was easily the Sharks' best line throughout the night. And LeBanc was a big reason why. But he's got to stay on the penalty box. And the 3 penalties he took, 2 of them were pretty borderline, I would say, and then one of them was a slash that is just they're going to call that this year. So that one, I think, was the one you couldn't really argue. But, they liked his aggressiveness. And that was that was what Joe Thornton, Joe Pavelski, and Pete DeBoer all said after the game, was that, they like him getting his nose dirty and trying to create out there and running around a little bit. He's just got to be a little bit smarter. And that's just, the natural maturation process of a young player. So, I think they're more encouraged by what he did offensively than they were discouraged by the penalties that he took, even though really it cost them the game because the Flyers scored 3 power play goals that night.
Yeah, and I don't want to put the entire blame of the loss, but it's just this is the process that a young player is going to go through, trying to find his way in the National Hockey League. You want the aggressiveness, because that is one of the characteristics that got him up through the ranks and got him the opportunity, but it's now fine-tuning that game to work with your line mates and figure out your role on that line and on the team.
Yeah, and I think he'll learn that. But, it's such a big key for this team to find these younger guys that can put the puck in the net that, I think in that sense they're pretty happy with the way he played that night.
Are we going to see more this year from Jonas Donskoy? Is it going to be Melker Karlsson? I keep waiting for Thomas Hertl as well to show some of more consistently what we've seen in spurts from him at times.
Yeah, there's no doubt these guys need to push from underneath, because it just wasn't there last year. And you can go across the board really with the forwards that had disappointing seasons. From, even Joe Thornton before he got hurt was, struggling to produce, and Joe Pavelski fell under the 30-goal mark for the first time in 4 years. But, what was the most discouraging part of last season for this team is that guys like Jonas Thomas Hertl got hurt, so he has a little bit of an excuse. He hurt his knee for the 3rd time in his career. But Mikhail Bodker, disappointing year. Chris Tierney, I think they're waiting for him to take the next step. But they need those guys to pick it up. And I think Hertl is probably the most important piece, because they've got him as the 3rd-line center right now. In that spot, theoretically, you should be able to take advantage of some matchups against other teams, especially at home and in home games. And he's got guys around him that also need to do more. Jonas Donskoy was another guy that he had a great rookie year and scored some huge goals in that year that the Sharks went to the Stanley Cup final. throughout that playoff run, he was really opening some eyes, I think, with the way he was playing. But last year it was a struggle for him. And again, another guy that battled through some injuries, dislocated his shoulder a couple times. So I think that really hurt him in terms of his physical play because, he likes to play a physical game, get his nose dirty. I think maybe the two dislocated shoulders might have hindered him in that sense. Had some foot problems, we were told recently. So, he's a guy I think that really has some skill and can produce. And, then Mikkel Bottker, the big off-season addition last year, really underperformed, was really disappointing. He's got a full year under his belt. Maybe he'll pick it up. He's got a chance playing on Logan Couture's line. He's now taking the spot of Patrick Marleau in the top power play unit. So he's got a great opportunity in front of him. He's just got to take advantage of it. So, if those guys can take that next step and produce and, so the Sharks aren't so reliant on the Thorntons and Pavelskis and the Coutures of the world, that's what this team's going to need if they're going to be a contender.
You mentioned Joe Thornton and coming back from injury and the really devastating injury that he did have. You've probably heard more stories than I have, but I heard a story or two about how how injured he was, and it was remarkable to me that he was even able to play during the playoffs last year. But what have you seen from him so far in bouncing back? Do you feel that he'll be fine? He'll be, I don't know if you want to say 100%, but he'll be the Joe Thornton we expect again this year.
I mean, he looked great on Wednesday night, and that's probably the most encouraging aspect, other than maybe Kevin LeBanc. But Joe Thornton looked really good in that first game. And, he did open up to me a little bit about a week and a half ago about the injury. It was, his MCL was gone, and that's using his words, partially torn ACL. And when he had surgery, the doctor went in 3 different places in his knee. And one of them was obviously to fix the MCL, but another was to put a brace, is how he explained it, around the ACL to prevent future, any injuries to his ACL, because that could be, potentially, obviously, career-ending. But he's got that in there, and he's looked fantastic. So, that's a real encouraging sign. But he does, he did also say that it's a daily process with the knee in order to make sure he's okay to play, to practice and to play in every game. So, at 38 years old, it's just probably something he accepts and something he's going to have to deal with now in order to play, because, he said many times he wants to play as long as he can. If he can make it as long as Jaromir Jagr does, then we'll see, maybe we'll see a 45-year-old Joe Thornton. But, he's still the pulse of that dressing room. He's still the heart and soul of this team. And, they still obviously need him to play well. And I really think that the grind of the condensed schedule, the short summer, playing in the World Cup for Team Canada, I really think that did hurt a lot of guys on the Sharks roster, but especially Joe Thornton. And now that, we're back to a normal schedule here with, you look at the Sharks schedule here, they have 3 games in the first, 9 or 10 days or whatever it is. So plenty of time to recover and rest between games. And I think that's going to help Thornton. And frankly, I think, he had 50 points in 79 games before he got hurt last year. I think he's going to be better than that this year, so long as that knee stays healthy.
The other key player that is going to be counted on, not just for offense, but defense too, is Brent Burns. And can he have as good a season as he had last year? Is that going to be essential for the Sharks to be successful?
Yeah, I don't know that he has to be like a point-per-game guy like he basically was last year, because, again, I think they need some more from their forwards. But obviously Brent Burns is a key to this team. And, I'm not sure they need him to win another Norris Trophy, but they do need him to be play that responsible two-way game, which we saw him play for most of the last season and a half, be that offensive force that he is, basically unlike just about every other player in the NHL. He's just such a unique guy. But, it's going to be interesting to monitor Burns because he had a really special relationship with Bob Boughner. And, I'll plug my site a little bit today. This is something I got into yesterday and posted this morning because Brent Burns, again, he had such a good relationship with Boughner. And, Bob Boughner really helped to turn him into that Norris Trophy winner. So, he's gone now, head coach of the Florida Panthers. They bring in Rob Zettler now, another former player. So, Brent Burns, I think, is the kind of guy that, he has so many unique interests off the ice. He's not much of an X's and O's guy. I don't think he's one that really wants to sit down and dissect video for a long time. But really, that's what I think makes him thrive as a defenseman. Bob Bugner and Pete DeBoer just let him go out there and play. And so the new coach, Rob Zettler, I think is going to have to take that approach with him too. But it's going to be interesting to monitor Burns over this year here, just because he did have that relationship with Bugner that I think, again, turned him into becoming a Norris Trophy winner.
Kevin Kurz of The Athletic San Francisco, at @KKurzNHL to follow him on Twitter. Always enjoy the conversation. Kevin, thanks so much, and look forward to doing it again soon.
Yep. Okay. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you. Kevin Kurz from The Athletic in San Francisco. Good stuff on the Joe Thornton injury. Kevin did a great piece on that. It's remarkable, the recovery that Joe Thornton has made and the maintenance. And if he wants to keep playing, he wants to keep playing till he's, Yager age, 45. Imagine how good that beard will look, that Joe Thornton beard. If he keeps playing for another 5, 6, 7, 8 years, whatever it is, imagine what that thing would look like. I mean, he'd be tripping over it as he's skating up and down the ice. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports, the Twitter and Instagram handles to reach us. We'll talk about Yager and the Flames and everything else surrounding that with Derek Wills, the radio play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames, coming up in our next segment. Take you right up to the top of the hour here on the Saturday edition. Get you set for 15 games in the NHL on this Saturday. Nice, busy Saturday. Derek Wills will join us right after the break. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis coming right back.
So you had to get groceries, take your daughter to dance class, and a pipe burst in the kitchen. You missed Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. No problem. All of our shows are available as a podcast right after the show airs, so you can listen when life gets in the way of hearing us live. Subscribe through iTunes and get alerts as soon as the podcast is available, or go to our website, hockeyunfiltered.com, and listen. Plus, check out the other cool stuff. The Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis podcast. Subscribe now through iTunes. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Nova Product Design is designed for manufacturing. Nova Product Design can get the job done with mechanical and industrial design. Nova Product Design is also fully functional for laser cutting, water jet cutting, plating, coatings, and more. Nova Product Design, innovative design, and the latest technologies. Nova Product Design can design, build, and test any required types of prototypes and beta units. Visit NovaProductDesign.com. We're looking for your Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day nominations every Saturday. Now you can send them through Instagram. Use the hashtag #HUDogoftheDay. Send us a photo of your dog on Twitter or Instagram to nominate them as the HU Dog of the Day. Include your name, the dog's name, and any other cool details you want. We choose a winner and add them to the Dog of the Day gallery on our website and Facebook page. It's the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day every Saturday. Hashtag HU Dog of the Day.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. It's the Saturday edition here every Saturday, every Sunday, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, streaming live at hockeyunfiltered.com. We're on Facebook Live, we're on Periscope, we're on YouTube. You can catch our podcasts as well, including our little Saturday podcast. Subscribe through iTunes and iHeartRadio. Oh, so many things to get into on a busy Saturday in the National Hockey League. 15 games. I know opening day was Wednesday, but this is kind of the real opening day where everybody gets going. Afternoon games, early evening games. You got the late games as well that include the Calgary Flames coming up at home, hosting the Winnipeg Jets. It's a 10 p.m. Eastern time start. Derek Wills is the radio play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames. You can follow him on Twitter at fan960wills. He joins us now. Derek, has there been a mullet sighting yet today?
There has been a mullet sighting, but I got a question for you before we start, Todd.
Sure.
Can I get in on this HU Dog of the Day thing?
Oh, absolutely. It's you just got to tweet or Instagram your dog. Use the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We pick a winner, and hurry, you can do it. You got time right after your segment. We'll pick a winner right before the end of the show.
Perfect, because I'm going to get my boxer dog Zoe in on that.
Nice. We like boxers. We like boxers. So yeah, hashtag
might be the winner, Todd.
Hashtag HU Dog of the Day on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for the plug, Derek. Okay, tell me about the mullet now.
Okay, the mullet, Jaromir Jagr, is on the ice for a very optional Flames morning skate. Now, the last couple of days, he skated on the line with Sam Bennett and Chris Versteeg, which is where we expect him to play when he does make his Flames debut. Also practiced on both the first and second power play units the last couple of days. So I think if I had to guess, I'd say 60% in, 40% out, and that's up from 50-50 a couple of days ago. But one thing to note, and I'm not sure how much to read into this, for the guys who are on the ice, Bennett, Versteeg, and Jagr are all out there. Bennett and Versteeg are skating together. Jagr's not skating with them. So I'm not sure if that's a bit of a red herring or if he indeed will be out of the lineup here tonight. But we might have to wait until the warm-up to find out.
This is the kind of covert operations that teams go through to not give their lineup away too far in. Okay, Derek. So I've said that I'm skeptical of this signing. I'm not sure that this is the right move for the Calgary Flames to have Jaromir Jagr. He's been the story. He's been the attention the last couple of days. I know you've just seen him skate during practice and this morning. What do you think he will bring to the Calgary Flames?
Well, I'm a big fan of this move because it's really low risk. They've given him a one-year contract with a $1 million base and $1 million in bonuses, and it's really high reward. If he's as good as he was 2 years ago or even last year with the Panthers, that's going to be a big boost for the Flames offensively. And as we saw on Wednesday night, I think if Brad Treliving had one thing that kept him up at night, would be this team's ability to score goals, and they didn't get one in the season opener versus the Oilers. And if there's one thing that Jagr can do, it's score goals and produce points. Only Wayne Gretzky has more points in the history of the National Hockey League. And even at 45 years old, he still has Hall of Fame hockey IQ. He still has Hall of Fame hands. We've seen that in his first couple of practices with the team, and he's going to help them in the offensive zone. If there's one concern, it would be, can he get back into the defensive zone and do his job there? But, I think Jagr is going to be a great mentor for some of the younger players on this team, and it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's the defensive part of it is yes, part of the concern and question for me. But in a game that's getting younger and faster, he's not getting either. And the other, you mentioned a couple of years ago that he did produce. And the other part of that, though, is I thought he was exposed as we got to the point late in the season and into the playoffs. I didn't think he was as effective. Think we might have lost Derek. Oh, no. It was going to be good, too. Darn. Derek, are you with me? Doesn't look like it. We'll endeavor to get Derek back. He's probably done is gone to get his dog photo, Zoe, on as the HU Dog of the Day, and that's probably where he's gone. We will endeavor to get him back and get a few more comments from Derek Wills, the radio play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames. It's going to be interesting. I'm still skeptical. Yes, it's the defensive part of it, but it's also the offensive part of it and the speed and being able to keep up with the pace of the game. We will wait and see if that will play out for the Calgary Flames or not. I'm interested to see what they do against the Winnipeg Jets tonight. As Derek mentioned, they could not score a goal against the Edmonton Oilers in their season opener on Wednesday night. It was the second straight year that the Calgary Flames had struggled in the opener. They did make some significant changes in terms of their goaltending. Once again, I don't think Mike Smith played poorly. I don't think he played poorly at all. I played well in the opener for the Calgary Flames against the Oilers. But he was up against Connor McDavid, and that's a pretty tough matchup, even with a strong defense core, the same way that you have the same way that you have with the Calgary Flames. It's difficult. It's frustrating, but I don't know. I'm a little bit skeptical. We'll wait and see if it works out. Maybe it is, as Derek described, low risk, potential high reward. It's going to depend on where he plays in the lineup and whether or not he can keep up. I'm interested to see how this game plays out as well tonight for the Winnipeg Jets, because Winnipeg Jets sure didn't have the kind of opener that they wanted against the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were one of the teams that opened up on Wednesday, and it was the Maple Leafs in Winnipeg. They went in, and boy, oh boy, did the Toronto Maple Leafs kind of give it to them. Easy, Toronto fans. It's just one game. It is just one game. But I'm interested to see what they do in game number 2. Tonight, Winnipeg will take on Calgary. I'm waiting to see what they do tonight, and I'm interested to see what they do in the next little while, because I'm finding this situation this season with the Winnipeg Jets could potentially be a little bit like the Edmonton Oilers from last year. We have apparently reached Derek again. Are you with us, Derek?
I am. Sorry about that.
Excellent. Not a problem at all. It's the my question to you just before we lost you was, I understand what you're saying about Jaromir Jagr and the potential for offense from a couple of years ago, but I also thought that late in the season and into the postseason, Jagr was exposed a little bit.
He was, and I mean, defensively is the one area where you kind of worry about him a little bit. He's not a great skater at this stage of his career. I mean, he's 45 years old, and he certainly can't get around like he used to, but he's such a smart player. And he made a comment, something along the lines of, yeah, sure, guys can get to spots quickly, but maybe they're getting to the wrong spots quickly, and I'll go to the right spots. So, you know, he's a guy who I think is certainly going to help them score goals, and I think he's going to mentor their young players. And we might look back at his time here years from now and say Sam Bennett is who he is in large part because of Jaromir Jagr taking him under his wing and helping him learn the game both on and off the ice and learn what it takes to truly be a star in this league for a long time. So I think there's more upside than downside, Todd. And listen, if it doesn't work, it's a contract that I think you can easily get rid of. I don't think you're going to be sending Jaromir Jagr down to the American Hockey League. So if Calgary Flames decided to go down a different road, I'm sure they could find a solution to that problem. But I think it's going to work. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think they've sold about $1 or $2 million in jerseys already. And people here in Calgary could not be more excited to have one of the greatest players in the history of the game putting that flaming C on his chest. Everybody here is really pumped up about it.
And of course, the traveling Jagrs will be there at some point too. Maybe they'll be camping out for the whole season. So there you go.
They're based in Calgary, and I put up a great photo. It's a little creepy at the same time, but someone took a photo of all of the traveling Jagrs here at Scotiabank Saddledome last season, all standing in front of urinals. So you see all the different Jagr jerseys, and they're in one of the men's rooms here at the Dome, and that's up on my Twitter account for those who want to check it out.
Oh, we will look for that and retweet it. That is a little creepy, taking photos in the men's room, but we'll get past that and retweet the photo. So okay, let's. It's good fun. Okay, family friendly, fair enough. Appreciate that. So what was the mental state of the Flames after that game the other night against the Edmonton Oilers? I think hopes were really high for the Flames this year and excited to get in, and they had brought in Mike Smith. They had brought in and shored up their defense core a little bit. They didn't end up scoring the other night against Edmonton. Not that you want to panic after one game, but what was the mental state of the Calgary Flames, and now as they lead up and get ready for game number 2 against Winnipeg?
Well, there's certainly no panic. It's game 1 of 82, but the team was disappointed with the way they performed the other night. And listen, the Oilers deserve a lot of credit. That is as good as I have seen them play defensively in my time covering this league, and probably in about a decade. And some of their own people said that. They were fantastic defensively against the Flames at Rogers Place the other night. But as good as the Oilers were, the Flames were equally as bad, and I don't quite understand it. And it reminded me a lot of the team, Todd, that I watched during the preseason. And when you're playing against other teams' B and C squads, I get it. It's hard to get up for those games, but it should not have been hard to get up for the season opener, a Battle of Alberta against the team that you plan to fight for the Pacific Division title with this season. The Flames looked tentative. They looked a little flat, which is really mind-boggling, and they just really couldn't seem to get the game together. And I think one of the reasons they looked as bad as they did on Wednesday night, Connor McDavid gets a breakaway 35 seconds into the hockey game. Now, Mike Smith stops him, and Mike Smith was marvelous the other night. But Connor McDavid is the fastest player I've ever seen, and I think he puts teams back on their heels. I think he put the Flames back on their heels offensively, and they were way too worried about him the other night. And, despite that, he still scored 3 goals. So they're going to have to find out a way to defend him and also try to score goals at the other end of the ice as well. And he's going to do that to a lot of teams, not just the Flames this season.
Yeah, and the Flames are going to have to take advantage of any opportunities that they get to put goals in, as you mentioned. They've got plenty of good goal scoring in the lineup, whether it's Johnny Gaudreau or you mentioned, Sam Bennett and some other players that can score, and they will generate scoring. It's a matter of capitalizing on those opportunities when they do come up.
Oh, absolutely. And I think their offense can be helped out by the defense as well. You look at the Flames' top 5 in defense, and it's been a bit of an arms race here in the province of Alberta. I think the Oilers have a better group up front, but I think the Flames, at least on paper, have a better group on the back end. And I think their top 5 is as good as any top 5 in the National Hockey League. You've got a top pairing of Mark Giordano and Dougie Hamilton, good defensively, but can also chip in offensively. You've got a second pairing of Hamonic again, good defensively, but should be able to chip in offensively, especially Brody having a partner who can take care of the responsibilities defensively like Hamonic. And even their third pairing, which is going to be Michael Stone and probably a rotation of Matt Bartkowski and Brett Kulak, not a bad third pairing by today's standards in the NHL. So I think the defenseman can help out offensively. But the other night, Todd, quite frankly, the Flames' fourth line was their best line. So their line of Matt Stage and Tanner Glass and Garnet Hathaway was their most effective line, given what their jobs are in that game against the Oilers. And listen, if your fourth line is your best line in any game in the National Hockey League, you're probably going to lose that game. And if your fourth line is your best line against a really good team like the Oilers, you're almost going to lose that game every single time. So it's up to their top 3 lines to get things going offensively tonight. Now, I think they'll be able to do that against a Jets team that struggled defensively, that struggled to keep the puck out of their net in their season-opening 7-2 loss versus the Maple Leafs. So this could be a fun one tonight.
Yeah, it could be. We'll definitely expect a better effort from the Calgary Flames, especially on home ice tonight as they host the Winnipeg Jets. Derek Wills, the radio play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames. He'll have the call at Fan960Wills is how you follow him on Twitter. By the way, we did just find and retweet that photo of the Yoggers. That is a little creepy, buddy. That is a little creepy. Thanks for this, Derek. And even with the creepy photos, hurry quick and get your dog in. Failing that, you can do it again next Saturday.
All right, sounds good. And it's creepy, but good creepy, right?
Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah, okay. We'll. No, it is. All right, thanks, it's fine. Thanks, Derek. Appreciate it, man. Derek Wills, the play-by-play voice of the Calgary Flames at Hockey Unfiltered. Yeah, we've tweeted out Derek Wills photos of the traveling Yoggers all lined up in formation at the urinals, at the Saddle Dome. It's quite a photo. No, it's fine. It's fan-friendly. It is kind of a fun thing. At Hockey Unfiltered, at Todd Lewis Sports. Last call for the HU Dog of the Day. Hashtag HU Dog of the Day. We announce winner at the end of the program. We'll add the dog to our Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day gallery on our website, up on our Facebook page as well. One more segment to go up to the top of the hour. We'll get you set for action today all around the National Hockey League. 15 games. Is this the real opening day? Yeah, I think so, with just about everybody, all except one, going today. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis, back after the break.
There's special savings for Hockey Unfiltered listeners with our new ticket partner, Seat Giant. And Canadian fans can also purchase in Canadian dollars. Go to seatgiant.ca, find the tickets you're looking for. Doesn't matter if it's NHL games, concerts, or any other event. You get a special discount with the promo code TODD. That's Todd with 2 Ds. Just enter the code, get the discount, you save. That's simple. Save on your next ticket purchase with Hockey Unfiltered and Seat Giant. The best way to get set for the busy Saturday night of hockey is with Hockey Primetime. Beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern, host Connor McKenna whips you around the league for the latest stories and info leading up to the early game starts. Plus, he'll give his own spin on the biggest stories in the National Hockey League. Hockey Primetime with Connor McKenna. Sometimes serious, sometimes a little goofy, but always interesting. Listen live at hockeyprimetime.com, 5 p.m. Eastern every Saturday. Search engine optimization is the key to success for your online business. It can be the key to success for any business. 1-844-SEO-LEAD is the number to call to get your business at the top of all searches. An official partner of Google, they have the tools necessary to make your business the one people notice first. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Now you can nominate your dog or any dog you love as the Hockey Unfiltered Dog of the Day through Instagram. Every Saturday, Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis will take your nominations for the Dog of the Day. Use the hashtag HU Dog of the Day. Send us a photo with the dog on Twitter or Instagram to nominate your dog. We choose a winner at the end of the show, and your dog will be recognized in the HU Dog of the Day gallery on our website and Facebook page. Hashtag HU Dog of the Day. Creativity and innovation are the hallmarks of Nova Product Design. Whether it's mechanical or industrial, cutting-edge technology and a commitment to excellence make Nova Product Design the company to choose. Prototypes and beta units are a Nova Product Design specialty. Striving for revolutionary new ideas and methods keep Nova Product Design at the forefront of innovation. Visit novaproductdesign.com and learn more.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. It's the Saturday edition. Oh, it's flying by, too. We'll be here till the top of the hour. Back again tomorrow. Listen live, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific. Streaming live at hockeyunfiltered.com. Also, Facebook Live, YouTube Live, on Periscope as well. And you can subscribe to our podcast through iTunes, through iHeartRadio. Subscribe, never miss an episode, including our midweek Little Saturday podcast. Yes, it's called Little Saturday because it's a little bit of weekend in the middle of the week. There are places around the world that like to have a little weekend in the middle of the week. People go out and maybe have a cocktail or two on the Wednesday. Thus the name, the Little Saturday Podcast. Getting you set for a busy Saturday in the National Hockey League with 15 games on the schedule. We'll call this the unofficial opening day because it's really revving up. Home openers. Everybody will have played at least one game by the end of today. Some teams will have played as many as 3. It's a lot of hockey in the first 4 days of an NHL season. I know you want to get going and you maybe get the benefit of some rest later on, but 3 games in the first 4 days. One of those teams will be the Pittsburgh Penguins, who haven't exactly enjoyed the opening part of the season. Interested to see how they respond. I'm interested in a lot of games to see teams over the next few days and then their next few games. Pittsburgh loses at home in the home opener. Then they get waxed 10-1 in Chicago. No, I don't think there's any need to panic. No, I don't think there's a crazy amount of concern. But Mike Sullivan was pretty blunt in his comments after that game. It's like, no, everything went wrong. It was bad right from the start. That's about as blunt and to the point as you can get. And I think maybe that gives Pittsburgh a little bit of a mental reset for today's game when they host the Nashville Predators. By the way, no Kevin Fiala in that lineup for the Nashville Predators. He's going to be out. I think Pittsburgh will be fine, though. But they're one of the teams I'm interested in watching over the next game or 2 or 3, how they respond after those losses. Another team, I mentioned this, they're the opponent of the Calgary Flames tonight when we were talking with Derek. I'm interested to see how the Flames respond after getting shut out by the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm also interested to see how the Winnipeg Jets respond after they got hammered by the Maple Leafs, 7-2. Yeah, they got thumped. They took penalties. They looked bad defensively. And the goaltending, well, that wasn't great either. These are the same things that plagued them last year. And the next day, Paul Maurice kind of skated them a little bit. Now, this wasn't 90 minutes of wind sprints, no pucks on the ice, skate for 45 minutes, resurface, and then skate for another 45. But he did skate him a little bit. I think that was just a bit of an attention getter. I'm wondering if this is going to work in a similar fashion for the Winnipeg Jets as it did with the Edmonton Oilers last year. Remember back to the beginning of last season, Edmonton opened up. They beat up on Calgary a couple of times, had some nice wins. Then they got dumped by the Sabres and looked pretty lackluster doing it. Todd McClellan, I don't want to say he freaked out, but he said, nope, that's not happening here. Canceled a scheduled day off, had the team practice, and took a lot of crap for it. Old guard, conventional thinker saying it's terrible, this is a panic move, he's overreacted. Worked out okay for Edmonton, though. Ripped off some victories, had themselves a pretty good season. He did not want that team getting into the acceptance of less than a 100% effort. He had seen that previously in Edmonton. That's what they had lived with. They have lived with and not only tolerated, but accepted mediocrity in the past. His job, or part of his job, was to change that. This was a step in that process. Looking back on it a year later, clearly the right move. He got everyone's attention. I don't know that Paul Maurice and skating the team a little bit after getting thumped at home by the Maple Leafs was quite as dramatic, but I think he was sending a bit of a message to say, hey, I want your attention. This is not acceptable. We are not playing this way. Not next game, not at all. Because Winnipeg, they got expectations with that team this year. They've been talking all through the preseason, all through training camp, that it is the playoffs or this season is a failure. And that is no easy task. They are in a really tough division. Winnipeg doesn't have the big franchise player like Connor McDavid, but they've got some good quality players. Mark Scheifele, I think, is an underrated player. And I think he's going to get some more attention this year. Goaltending is still a bit of a question, especially after game one. But this was a mental reset for the Winnipeg Jets, and they need it. Winnipeg plays Calgary tonight. I think that's going to be one of the interesting games. The other one that I'm really curious to see how it plays out is the Columbus Blue Jackets in Chicago to take on the Hawks. Brandon Saad, reacquired by Chicago, looked like he never left. Hat-trick opening night against the Penguins. Now, this was a Pens team that didn't show up. But then on Friday night, Columbus Blue Jackets have their season opener, their home opener. They're hosting the New York Islanders. Artemi Panarin, the guy that Saad was traded for, he's not to be outdone. Now, he didn't score a hat trick, but he did set up 3 goals. Oh, yeah. So now these two get to meet one another. The Hawks, okay, we had a great first run. This has got to be a bounce-back year after the disappointment of last year, and I still remember Stan Bowen saying, this is not acceptable. Well, they're going to have to change this year. So how are they going to do in game number 2 and in the next few? How are the Columbus Blue Jackets going to do? There's expectations with that team this year as well. Had a good season last year, kind of floundered a bit down the stretch, had the early playoff exit. Okay. Made a few changes. Took a while, but got all their players signed. Bobrovsky was good in the opener. Didn't have to be great, but he was good. How are the Columbus Blue Jackets going to do with expectations this year as part of their team? That's going to be fascinating to watch. Caps had a comeback victory. Ovi had a shutout. Montreal Canadiens, managed to find a way to win against Buffalo. I thought Buffalo played really well. In fact, Buffalo was fun to watch. If you didn't like watching Buffaloes for some of those games last year, I think you'll like them this year. They're playing a much more up-tempo style, and they were dictating the play the other night against the Montreal Canadiens. I'm anxious to see how Montreal does against the Washington Capitals as the Caps open up at home. That's going to be an interesting one. And Carolina opens up today as well. Really anxious to see the Carolina Hurricanes because I think they will surprise a few people this year. Going to be a fun one with 15 games on the Saturday schedule. We'll be back to wrap it all up on Sunday. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd is back Sunday morning, 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific, streaming live at hockeyunfiltered.com, powered by Primetime Radio, on Facebook Live, on Periscope, and YouTube Live. Our thanks to Derek Wills. Our thanks to Kevin Kurz for joining us, to Rob Volman, hockey statistician, and to Isabel Kershudian as well. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Back again tomorrow morning at 11 Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific.
Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis sends you to the biggest events at the best prices. This year, we partnered with Seat Giant to give you special deals on tickets to NHL games, concerts, or other events. Simply go to SeatGiant.com, find the tickets you want. When you check out, use the promo code TODD for a special discount. That's promo code TODD for a special discount. Start saving with SeatGiant.com on your next purchase. Look, we know it happens. Life gets in the way and sometimes you can't catch the live edition of Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis. But we've made it easy for you to catch up on the show you might have missed. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis is available as a podcast on iTunes, iHeartRadio, and Blog Talk Radio. You don't want to miss an episode. If you missed the live show, check out the podcast. Don't miss any shows. There's a test coming up later. Subscribe now. Get your business started getting more leads. 1-844-SEO-LEAD. The number to call if you want more online leads for your business is 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Search engine optimization can be the difference between success and failure. It's no coincidence which businesses are listed first in Google searches. Call 1-844-SEO-LEAD. Use the code Get the Savings. Hockey Unfiltered with Todd Lewis listeners save with SeatGiant and the promo code TODD. That's TODD at SeatGiant.com. Just log on to SeatGiant.com to find the best tickets to NHL games, concerts, or whatever you want and save. Use the promo code TODD. That's TODD when you check out and you save. Canadian listeners can save at SeatGiant.ca. That's SeatGiant.com and .ca. Cutting-edge design for manufacturing. Nova Product Design. Industrial design. Mechanical engineering and design. Nova Product Design provides experienced design for parts and assemblies, manufacturing, assembly, and serviceability. From plastic parts to sheet metal forming, mold and tool design, injection molding, and more. Nova Product Design. Visit novaproductdesign.com to learn more.